Okay, let's go. Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. My name is Agnes and today I am here with my brother Jason.
Hi.
An hour ago, I asked my brother Jason what could be my next content on YouTube. So he answered na he wants to speak in behalf, or like he wants to talk about why is veganism political. So here we are here at Himsog Eatery here in Nazareth, Cagayan City, Philippines, to eat vegan food and talk about veganism as a political movement. So here we have broccoli pops and chicha shroom. They're all vegan, and the owner mismo sa Himsog is vegan.
She voted pink.
She or they voted for Lenny.
Yeah.
So if it isn't obvious yet, we're all both of us voted for Lenny, and we are all devastated and a little indifferent now and in the acceptance phase of the election results.
You can follow the owner. They have a Facebook page, right?
Yeah, they have a Facebook page,
So they're
Himsog Eatery.
Yeah, so they're kakamping, one of the few kakamping businesses.
Yeah.
That's also vegan. So yeah. Malamig.
Sweating
Crispy
inside.
fry, may natagamit.
I know, right? It's crispy fry. Salamat na here.
Go.
So in this vlog, we're gonna talk about why veganism is political. To start with, let's first clear out the air about what veganism is all about really. For the curious ones, or for those who are starting to become one, it's important to understand that veganism is not only just a diet. So let's start with that.
Yeah. It's very easy to misunderstand or get the wrong idea of veganism, especially because like if you see examples in movies and TV shows and even on news that a certain person went vegan or a certain business is offering vegan options, you kind of have this idea that it's only because it revolves being a vegan consumerist or being a vegan capitalist. So it's mostly just about how to buy, how to purchase, how to live a certain way without really knowing why you're doing it, I guess. And more than just why you want to do it, it's also understanding the very problem that it is trying to address. Not just I get it. Veganism is about animal rights. Well, then why do you care? Or why is there a problem with how animal rights or how animals are being treated? And why do you think there's a problem? So I think that's really important to understand or get a sense of and really read up resources, those things.
So let's begin with a question. Why is veganism political?
To answer it in a very illustrative way of answering things, why veganism is political? Because if you read the definition, just read the definition of veganism. It's basically a philosophy or a lifestyle based on ethics and morals. So, which is non-violence, anti-oppression. You get the gist. So it's not just about personal preferences, like a personal choice to be moral. You actually want people to embrace those same values as well. When you really think about what the movement or what veganism is all about, what the problems it tries to address. Yeah. Say for example, when you go to a store to buy soap, then you were offered you get two soaps, or you have two options. Soap A is coconut flavor, and then soap B is, say for example, apple flavored. So whichever way you choose, let's say I prefer coconut, so that's my personal preference. When you go to a store to buy soap, and then you have two options of soaps, both coconut flavored, but soap A is made or manufactured by a company that doesn't treat its workers right. They exploit their workers and on their pay, and they have horrible working conditions, and they're also not eco-friendly. They have very questionable dealings with the government, and their very unethical business practices. Then you go to Soap B, they're very ethical, they're very sustainable company, they treat their workers very well. That becomes a moral choice or ethical choice. When you make those ethical choices, you want others to do the same. Collectively, it becomes a political movement to only support companies or certain brands or certain products that you identify with or something like that.
So basically, ang whole meaning of veganism, which is avoid consumption and use of animals as far as practicable and possible. At the end of it, it's the total liberation. Liberation for the animals and the people and the planet from abuses, from exploitation,
Oppression.
So that's the gist of it. The thing about thinking or having this mindset that one action is equivalent to a political movement is each of us, like since there's a growing population, can make one statement and spread it, like multiply it, like a rippling effect across different sectors. So like it's the same thing as questioning people who use plastic straws. Like it could be just one straw and some person would just say it's just one straw, but then that's the same answer that like billions of other people would say. That's equivalent to the same scenario that when you're eating animal product and you'd say it's just one plate of animal food, or I just do this once a week, but so does billions of other people. So that's still billion of other animals that you have exploited and abused. So at the end of the day, what one person would say can still have an impact across the world or across different sectors. You're consciously doing things towards something that you hope for, which is total liberation. Or at least in our case, we are hoping that we can liberate all animals, people, and like the planet from this mess. And then, what else? The next question would be, what is other people's idea about veganism? Like people who are like non-vegans and new vegans alike, and what did they imagine it to be? What are their understanding?
I think we've already kind of addressed or touched on that before when we did the intro, but recently, kasi, especially when you go to vegan groups, like for example, the one vegan group in the country that's very popular, it's
I'll link it
Manila
down below.
Vegans. You get the same reaction from non-vegans and even new vegans alike, or we don't really know for sure if they are or they're not, but they're just members there. You get a lot of the same reaction, like, why is there politics in here? I thought this was a vegan group. I thought this was just about veganism, and then you begin to wonder why, how did you understand veganism in the first place? Why are you asking this question? I think it's the same type of feedback when I'm not a member of groups in other countries, but probably on the comment sections of more popular vegan influencers like, Earthling Ed, Gary Francion, or whatever his name is, and so many others, different social media platforms and threads. The usual question is, why is veganism intersectional? Or why are we discussing intersectionality in veganism? We're supposed to just stand for animal rights, especially in other countries in the West where veganism is far more getting into the mainstream now, and animal rights is more accepted compared to the Philippines. So the question they have usually is, why is veganism intersectional, or why are we discussing intersectionality? In our case, in the Philippines, that's the same question as far as like people asking, why is there politics? Why are we discussing politics in veganism? So I think we should discuss, or we should address the question, why do they assume what veganism is in the first place, or why do they have this assumption? How did they understand what veganism is? Maybe they just understood it as a diet or as a lifestyle,
Like losing weight,
or
trying to get rid of a health condition, or
reduce Yeah.
or just trying to really improve their life.
Yeah. Or for some people who kind of already know about animal rights, their understanding might be veganism is a way of living that is only for animal rights. And when we say animal rights, we should only focus on animal rights. We shouldn't care about anything else because animals have less people fighting for them than for other groups that are oppressed. So I think it is my personal sort of belief that I subscribe or I give much weight to the activists themselves, the ones who are really pushing for veganism, not just because they have a wide reach, but really their body of work for the last couple of years has been about that. For example, in Manila Vegan, the founder, the people who were there for the longest time, to be specific, Nancy. Hi Nancy.
Hi Nancy, I hope
If you're watching. if you're a member of Manila Vegans and you kind of follow her thoughts on it, I mean, for me, I really respect her way of thinking. I stand with her and I understand where she's coming from. That's why I'm leaning towards that direction as opposed to other, let's say, influencers outside the Philippines. I guess I kind of lean towards activists like Roger Yates and Gary Francione, the ones that Nancy recommended for us to read. They are also intersectional, or they also discussed intersectionality. It's been a topic kasi before. It was an issue before with Anonymous for the Voiceless that the vegan movement to just be focused on animal rights. I think they were trying to hide the fact that they were closeted transphobic people and kind of racists as well. Yeah. So that's why it's hard for most people who understand anti-oppression, the heart of it, anti-oppression, to identify with people who are for oppression on others as well, like the LGBT community, other minorities, other disabled or differently abled people, the poor, So yeah, I think that's if they ask or if they have that kind of reaction, but may politics dito, or why is there politics here, or why are we discussing intersectionality in veganism? I think it's very important to ask them why do you believe in veganism in the first place. So there you can try to sort of make them understand anti-oppression, consistent anti-oppression, and total liberation. If you know that killing a non-human animal, or not just killing, if you see something wrong with abusing, exploiting, caging, and killing a non-human animal, how could you not see those same type of oppression done to minorities as well, right?
Now let's move forward to thinking about veganism, or like understanding veganism as a movement. So what is veganism's objective? Like the vegan movement itself.
I think we all kind of have an idea what the movement is, what it is trying to achieve. We kind of try to visualize it, a world where there's no animals being caged or being abused, being killed without any reason, not non-self-defense reasons, no animals systematically bred, so no animals hunted, there's food available, accessible for everyone, affordable for everyone. So I think that's kind of the world we're trying to achieve, but in order for us to do that, we need to convert or convince as many people as we can, family members, friends, and it's very hard and alienating at times, but we do it anyway. Or even if we stop doing it, we won't stop on ourselves. We won't think that our efforts of just us setting examples or just us making those difficult conversations, we won't say it's for nothing, because veganism at its root is a social justice position, just like other social justice positions that you've probably come across. It's grounded in the political collective. So yeah. Why is there skepticism for the president and the vice president elect right now? I think for me, they still, like the president to be specific, he still never acknowledged the atrocities that happened during martial law. They were actually responsible for why people don't believe the atrocities of martial law. They're very much responsible for the revisionism that's going on social media right now, and even for the last 10 years on Facebook, on Twitter, on
TikTok,
YouTube, TikTok. TikTok is just recent, but they also managed to capture that audience as well. But it's been going on for quite some time now. They've managed to weaponize that, to exploit that platform, to spread fake stories, half-truths. I hate that word, half-truths. Truths. Yeah. Yeah. So there's still no apology and not even an acknowledgement on the abuses. Even though there's already laws passed, there's already court rulings. I mean, there was no court ruling on the father because he already died. Criminal liability is extinguished pag namatay na yung tao. Oh yeah. But the family itself, there's on record about the abuses done by the military under their administration. And as far as the vice president goes, we all know how abusive the current administration was when it comes to dealing with the drug war, where thousands of civilians who were not even actual drug dealers themselves, they got killed, and even the drug users, they were killed without due process. And also the constant red tagging. It went from drug war to red tagging, which is what the textbook approach of fascist governments is, to create an enemy out of nothing, to rally gullible people to their cause, to support them. So I think both Marcos and Sara uniting and their victory, it symbolizes, or it represents that type of governance where impunity is tolerated and encouraged, and activism can take a backseat, because just being an active critic on anything, whether it's on issues on the environment, a particular type of government policy, law, or business dealings, or alliances with certain governments outside the country. Just voicing your opinion can get you labeled as a drug user, a communist. You'll receive plenty of threats. That's how it affects the whole movement, not just animal rights activists, but other movements, other anti-oppression movements in the country as well. So we're still a third world country after all. Movements like that are sort of natural, or it's not uncommon that we still have people marching for the marginalized because of our environment, our economy, unequal and poverty-stricken society. That's how difficult it is for most vegans, like vegans who are ethical vegans, not just lifestyle vegans, you know.
So before we leave, I would just like to discuss more on what really is the reason why, when you're vegan or when you're conscious about these things, why is it important to stand for political leanings? It's important to remember that in almost everything that we do, we have these values. Even at home, we are instilled or we are educated by values, and rooting from our own values, that's how we act, right? Like if you value your health, you would take care of your health. You would feed yourself healthy food, feed your mind with healthy contents or whatever. And then if you value education, if you value your family, you would do things to continue your education or continue doing things for your family, like make sacrifices and everything. When it comes to navigating this whole political spectrum, if you value your family, is it aligned with your values if you vote for someone who would encourage that it's okay to kill people? Like, how does that speak about your values? So that's why it speaks volumes when you stand for the environment, pero ang imong gi-vote di ay kay who doesn't care about the environment. Like, they go for nuclear energy against renewable energy. So there's a disconnect. That's where cognitive dissonance happens. That's why it's important to tackle these things in this situation. Because what is it for? If you keep eating vegan but you're voting for someone who is pro-oppression, so what's the point in that? That's counterproductive, guys. There should be more awareness in that area.
And another point I'd like to add, a totally different point, is when you vote or you express your political beliefs, not just by voting but by criticizing, by pushing for advocacies and getting it legislated in your community or in Congress, for example. Like especially for vegans who care about so many things, animal rights, sustainability, environment. You can't fight alone or just with a few people. You need to partner up with the government, those who have the power to really affect big changes in a much more bigger scale. So that's why it's important to vote based on your ethics. So if you want to push your advocacies, you have a higher chance of them getting legislated or getting supported by those types of politicians and business groups. So yeah. I think there's still a whole lot of reasons why veganism is political and why it is intersectional. It's been thoroughly discussed in different groups, especially in Manila Vegans yes. Facebook group. They can explain it better, and even on the international or in the West, in vegan groups in the West, they explain why veganism is intersectional much better. Now you can join those groups or those conversations on YouTube and Facebook. Just have to look for the right people. Nancy has a lot of resources, and of course there's also a lot of very credible people who've studied this very carefully or very thoroughly. They can explain it far better. I think it pays to follow them or subscribe to their content, social media and their groups that they organize. So yeah, but yeah, the elections here was really disappointing, to say the least, because it's like the whole disinformation. I could easily compare it to how animal agriculture and meat companies spread disinformation about happy cows or ethical, humane killing, sustainable poultry, sustainable fishing,
free-range
chickens, happy chickens, or happy wagyu, whatever the that means. I don't know why vegans who are supposedly very good at researching stuff, why they're still so either apolitical, or why they still support figures or political parties that spread misinformation and are totally just against everything that veganism stands for. So
yeah,
ang kakapal ng mukha talaga nila. Walang ethics. Ikaw na vegan ka, you have ethics, and then you support candidates who are so fake. You know what I mean? So yeah.
So if you guys want to check more insights or like credible sources about veganism and why is it political, you can join Manila Vegans. It's a Facebook group. I'll link it down below and I'll show you guys more here. And I've been sharing or endorsing Manila Vegans in my channel a couple of instances already. I think that my most recent video and the other videos before.
I think right now it's still Bardagulan season, so most people aren't actively sharing good
recipes.
information. No. They're not as actively sharing good information about politics and intersectionality as before, because they're still, whatever phase of or stage of grief they are. Yeah, most of them are just sharing memes about the trolls. Basta mga kakamping memes, but still join the group. It will get better.
So that's it for today's
short vlog.
For today's video. If you guys want to see more of this, you can comment down below or share your thoughts. And I hope it's stemming from the place of kindness and facts and like
Ethics.
everything, ethics and morals. Because at the end of this, my whole objective of this channel is really to promote that veganism is applicable and it's also very relevant to help ourselves improve in any way. So that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. I hope to see you guys on my next video.